Anne, thank you for joining us here, and congratulations on being a Visionary Honoree this year.
Thank you.
We wanted to ask you a few questions. So I understand the DNA kits for 23andMe have been used by coming up on 1 million or over 1 million people now?
We've hit 1 million now.
That's awesome.
Yes,
Congratulations.
we're over 1 million. Thank you.
So what's your future vision for the company? Where do you see that part of the industry going? Or where do you want to take it?
Well, I think a couple things. I think one, first is more and more people getting empowered with their own information. And I think almost more than just the genetics and people getting access to their genetic information is this idea that people are actually empowered to get their own health information and taking ownership of their health information. One of the big movements for the company now also is the drug development side, where we're looking at all the data that we're collecting, all the genetic information, all the survey questions that people answer, and how can we next really revolutionize drug discovery? And is there a way for having a genetic foundation to leapfrog and actually start drug discovery in a way that then is going to yield to a higher success rate?
That's exciting. So biotech and healthcare in general, obviously a very complicated industry to get into. You yourself with your company ran into some hurdles. What advice would you have for kind of young entrepreneurs and startups entering this space? 3 things if you could coach them.
3 things. I'll have to think about that. I think what I would coach them, one of the beauties of, I think one of the things that 23andMe did well is that we were relatively naive. And, somebody who I think had a lot of experience in this area, like I knew a lot about healthcare from the investment world, but we never recognized the number of challenges that we would have. And in some ways I would say for future entrepreneurs that there's a beauty in the naivete because you believe anything's possible. And I think that healthcare actually really needs that because over and over again I meet people who tell me why something's not going to work, and it's frustrating in some ways. That I think believing that things actually really can change is a key asset. And so I would say for all those entrepreneurs out there who actually really want to change healthcare, in some ways believing that you really can change it is the most important thing that you can bring to the table.
I think that's awesome. I work in innovation and banking, and the same problem exists in that industry.
Yes.
So believing that you can make it better is a huge part of the battle. So you've been in and around the Valley for a while. You're working in a really cool space with 23andMe, but what are some of the other technologies or innovations or trends that you're personally really inspired by or intrigued by?
So there's definitely, on the healthcare side or outside of healthcare?
It could be
anything.
Any topic.
I think seeing, so one, I'm really interested in the microbiome, just in general. People at 23andMe, I'd say, would probably joke about that I think microbiome is going to be one of the next big frontiers, and it's super interesting to me.
Maybe explain microbiome.
Microbiome is all of the bacteria that's within your body.
Right.
So in different flora in your mouth, in your gut, and they have these amazing stories of people getting sort of, it's sort of the fecal transplant and changing lives and curing disease. And so I think it's a really interesting area to be exploring, is like how your body is actually coexisting with this whole world of microorganisms. It's fascinating to me. One of the things that I think has really changed my life recently, which I think actually can continue, is your transportation and Uber and potentially self-driving cars. And I used to be I have 2 small kids, so I used to be relatively homebound. And I'd say Uber has really changed my life with this idea of like I can go anywhere and I don't have to worry about driving and the parking, and it's actually led to a huge new level of efficiency where I actually can get stuff done in the car. And the potential of these self-driving cars and eliminating parking spots and the need for parking, I actually think that is an aspect of technology that will really make people's lives better. So I think in the Valley we are in some ways so overwhelmed by all different aspects of technology, and in some ways it was nice being on vacation and being a little bit away from technology, but when I think about things that I actually miss, it was sort of that instant car when I want it was the only thing that I actually really sat there and I was like, I miss this.
I think it feels like to me there's a lot of those services coming at us on the horizon, on demand, almost anything.
Yeah.
On demand food delivery, on demand delivery of anything you buy, on demand car.
Yeah.
It's a pretty exciting
Oh,
world.
yeah, it was, when I lived in New York, there was a company called Cosmo.com, which I loved. And I still use my Cosmo.com keychain because I loved it so much. I could get Ben & Jerry's, I could get People magazine, and it would come to my house in 30 minutes, and there was a $2 charge, and it was amazing. So I agree, this whole world of instant anything, the Uber of anything is spectacular. But particularly with transportation, because if you think about the time that you waste sitting in the car,
where you could be productive.
where you could actually be productive.
Yeah.
And if I can actually drive up here now and I don't have to, and I could actually get work done, then
Yeah.
it's spectacular.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time. We're really excited to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Great.